Collectible card games are a phenomenon. A type of strategy game where players build their own decks of cards to compete against each other. Each card has its own abilities, strength and artwork, and part of the fun is collecting and trading to create the best possible deck. Since the early 1990s, games like Magic, The Gathering, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Have grown into global phenomena, combining strategy, creativity, community, and players don't just play. They collect, customize, and connect. But there's an untapped potential in the idea of collectible cards. The same format that celebrates pop culture and sports could be used to celebrate local stories, our history, wildlife, and people. Imagine a set of Gibraltar's trading cards, each one telling a small part of a bigger picture. A visual, hands-on way to learn about the rock's heritage, its communities, and the world around us. It's a simple concept with room to grow, collectibles that don't just entertain but educate.
Hi, I'm Adi and I am the Finance Director of Collectify. So our concept is collectible cards about influential people and important places in Gibraltar or anything to do with Gibraltar's culture. So the idea is to educate the people of Gibraltar about our culture and history. You might walk past the Moorish castle every day, but you don't actually understand the history behind it. You don't understand its significance. You might see, for example, Fabian Picardo on TV every day, but you don't know his role in society. So that's why we've come up with this fun concept to engage not only the youth, but everybody into learning about Gibraltar's culture.
Me and Jessie, we had been discussing this, that we wanted to do it together for a long time. So when they posted about it, we were both like, let's go for it. And we said we both be the managing directors, and basically we just went for it. I got a few girls, he got a few boys, so he got Adi, Jerome, Daniel, Jalen, I got Anita, Thea and Kaylee. And it just started off like that and we went with it. So basically we did some market research and we realized that there was a lack of knowledge within our own culture, and we thought that's a massive problem. So we wanted to make something that was gonna make a big impact. So then we thought, what can we do that can bring not just young people but all generations together?
So it was actually quite difficult for us to figure out what we wanted to do. But I had this plan of doing something cultural. I thought that it was quite important to do something that was educational but also fun, which was quite difficult to find that balance. However, we established, looking back on past things, of Rockopoly. Rockopoly is a monopoly based on Gibraltar, so it has Gibraltar businesses, etc. When we looked at it, because my dad had one, we saw that all the businesses that were in the Rockopoly were very outdated, and we thought, well, what if we did like a revamped Rockopoly? However, we got told we couldn't do that due to copyright and all of that, and then we thought, well, what's the best thing that we could do that's similar to this, it's also educational, and we came up with this idea of Collectify.
So over here, we have some demos of our product. So these cards are sold in packs of 8 and they will be priced at £2. And it's similar to Pokemon cards in the sense that you buy a pack and you have the possibility of getting any card. So in that way, you might be interested in football and want to get a Roy Chipolina card, but you all end up learning about Stay Behind Cave, for example. So that's the point of the cards. So on the front of the cards, you have a photo of the individual or place, and at the back of the cards, you have QR codes that link to a fact file about the individual or place. And these fact files we've all written, and that links to basically just a bit of information about them. The cards are sold in these packs, and that's our products.
Our original idea was to do a board game, but then after looking into that, we saw the expenses were quite high, and we thought the only other fun thing to do would be a card game, as it was more affordable. So we went with the card game, and to be honest, it was Jessie's idea, who said, let's do cards, because when we also researched what type of games people enjoyed, and cards was really popular. We compared prices with the Pokemon cards, with the football cards. I remember when I was in Bishop, the Pokemons were really popular, so that as well, like we've all been in Bishop, we've all seen how popular the Pokemon cards were. So then as well, when we were doing like a presentation, we went to Bishop to do it to like engage the audiences.
So collectible card games are really, really big. I mean, you've got Pokemon cards, which are absolutely massive. I think recently a Pokemon card sold for about £10 million, something like that. Crazy. So there's definitely a market for collectible trading cards. You've got Match Attacks, now I think you've got the World Cup ones. They're quite big. However, we hadn't really seen anybody do them about culture, and we realized that there's possibly a gap in the market where we could educate people using this phenomenon of collectible trading cards.
We did a lot of surveys and we put how much do you know about Gibraltar, so then we saw that, I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but we saw like that people were interested in learning more, so then that's when we thought this can be good. So then the process of getting in touch with people was quite crazy. Emails, sending emails every day. We had so many meetings. I think in 1 week it was like 18 meetings of meeting up with these people that we wanted to include in the cards.
So it was a very difficult process. It was probably the thing that took us the most amount of time. We met up with a lot of people, and basically how it worked was we thought of the obvious people and the obvious places that had to be included, but then as we went meeting up with people, so we met up with Sir Joshua Hassan's daughter, she told us to include these people, or she told us, have you thought about these people? So then we'd meet up with them, and then from there we developed a really, really long list, and then we narrowed it down from there. We actually met up with everyone who's in the project, or got permission from everyone to include them in the project, which was quite extensive, as you can imagine, a lot of emails, a lot of encounters.
And as well, I never thought that I would watch James Bond movie with Fabian Picardo, so that was crazy to me as well. Like, I was going into that meeting and we were all like nervous, like right before going in, we're like, oh my God, guys, we're meeting up with Fabian Picardo, and we sat down and we just watched the movie for a good like 10 minutes. The snippet that Gibraltar came out, and after that I was like it's crazy that we've just done that. So yeah.
At the moment we are on about 120, so it's more or less half people, half places / landmarks.
So these are our weekly meetings where we come and we just discuss all the progress we've made. We decide on what we're going to be focusing on this week. I mean, this week we had to issue our share certificates. We've also had to discuss, because on this Saturday we have to go to the ICC and we have our kind of like an open day there where we get to interact with the public and actually show off our product. So we've been discussing what we're going to do there and how we're going to do it. I think we're going to meet another day this week, so when we have an important event like that, we'll meet twice in 1 week so that we can discuss what more we have to do. We've been discussing how we've got to the top in the leadership board for the whole Young Enterprise Company Connect, which is a really big achievement for us. I mean, we're at 22,000 points, which is really great. So I'm the co-managing director, it's me and Celine. We've got quite a large team, there's 10 of us, and the workload, to be fair, we do try to balance it out. Obviously, at the end of the day, there's always going to be those people that do just that bit more, but it's up to us, to be fair. We do delegate quite well, and when some people need to do something, they'll do it. There's some people who are good at web design. I mean, Jalen's great at doing his web design, his Instagram, social media, all of that, so we've got him doing that. Anita's really good in the like being a secretary. She's really good at noting down everything. Thea does the same thing. I mean, we've each got our skills, and I think that we do take advantage of that in the sense that each person does that, and the workload is quite balanced, but there do come times where there is a lot of stress that we are placed on.
To be honest, loads of people would dread the lunchtime meetings because obviously it's our lunch break, but I every week would look forward to the lunch meetings, because not just because it's just because we were all together, we were working hard obviously, and just being there in that classroom, we were making jokes, that was probably the best thing about the experience for me. We had our teachers and our business advisors, which were a great help to us. We couldn't have done it without them.
Collectify has probably been one of the more interesting teams that I've kind of worked with. I remember speaking to the Link teachers, and I hadn't even met the actual team yet, and they had already been having meetings with ministers. They had already been having meetings with all of these kind of local personalities. They knew from a very, very early point what they wanted to do, which was very, very unique, because, you know, I've done about 4 or 5 different teams now over the years, and you can tell when a team has their head screwed on in the right way. You know, they gel together super well, and they did super well. It was an absolute pleasure to kind of help them as their advisor. So I think the kids did a very good job in identifying a gap in the market. You know, I think in previous years there's been a lot of the same sort of ideas that have gone through, so it was really refreshing to see something that was quite different, but also that it supported the local community, which I think most young enterprise teams want to do to some degree. There were teams last year, I recall, that were helping students you know, applying to uni, but as a product I think Collectify did a really good job of like tapping into, like, not everybody knows the kind of nuances of the history of Gibraltar, especially not in the younger markets either. So they did a great job in attracting, you know, younger kids and teenagers and young adults to be able to kind of partake and learn. They had kind of QR codes that went onto different parts of their website with all sorts of history about different things in Gibraltar. So it was extremely unique.
So the first time we actually went out in public, it was quite scary. I mean, I think the first time I had my hand in my pocket, I was kind of trembling a little bit. And it is quite daunting to just go up to people on the street, especially after you spend months producing these cards. You don't know whether they're going to like it. Obviously, we had a little bit of market research before that, but it's different. You're going up there, you're trying to sell something that you've put months of work into, a lot of hard work, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. So it was quite scary at first, but then you learn, you adapt. And I think one thing that we really learned was listening, because maybe the customer or the person we approach in the street wants to talk about something that they find interesting in Gibraltar, a cultural gem. And in that way, we share some sort of connection, because the thing that kind of differentiates us from Pokemon or Match Attacks or any other collectible trading card game is the fact that we have a connection with all of these places around us. I might walk down the street and I might see Johnny Walker, but I'm not going to walk down the street. Odds are I'm not going to see Cristiano Ronaldo. So that was our kind of unique selling point, and that's what kind of differentiated us from other collectible trading cards.
Okay, so today I'm here with
Gabe.
And how many places and people from Gibraltar can you name in 30 seconds?
I can name Christian Santos, Fabian, and I can name Roshi, Lighthouse, Main Street. Yeah, that's pretty much it, mate.
So ICC, we didn't have the product then. We gave feedback forms and we wanted people, we had a few like samples, but we wanted people's like feedback on our product, which was also really valuable.
Caleta, Eastern Beach, Commonwealth, Casemates, the Cave, Maker's Cave, Picardo, the other bald guy. I know.
We had a sale in Eroski, and I remember it was on Mother's Day, and we all went there thinking like, it's Mother's Day, people are going to be at lunches, and we thought this might not be very successful, but we were like, we've got to give it a try. So we went to Eroski and we took 100 packs and we sold all the 100 packs, and we were all like so proud of ourselves. It was such a great day. That was one of the best days.
Hey, yeah, I'm Jerome. I'm part of Collectify. We've been here since 10 o'clock, showing our products to people, selling some packs actually, offering free chocolates. Been here since 10, we're going to stay here till 6. It's going quite well. We're seeing a lot of interest from different people. And last week we're in the ICC, now we're here in Eroski. E06, and yeah, it's going really well. Yeah, we've had quite a few people very interested in our products, getting to know the actual cards, selling, quite a few people buying packs, so yeah, very happy with the success.
So it was actually quite interesting because we had a lot of sales days in ICC and Naroski. However, we did sell a lot online. So we managed to promote our product very well through Instagram, and our online sales on our website were quite well. And we also managed to get ourselves in a Naroski, whereby if you spent a certain amount of money, you'd get a free card. So because the whole purpose was education, we also wanted to get it out there without it being an expense for people. Because at the end of the day, education is something that should be universal, you know what I mean?
The online sales we were doing the deliveries ourselves, so we were balancing, like sorting everything out, delivering to people, but the online sales were definitely good. Everyone gave us such good feedback about it. People were saying how they were learning about it, which was our main aim, to inform people about our culture. So I think everyone just loved the cards, which is great.
Gibraltar Cultural Services is very, very proud to be able to support young enterprise and support all these endeavors that many, many young people put pen to paper to. In the case of Collectify, they made an amazing presentation with their proposal, with their project, and there's where GCS comes in. We provide a financial support, especially in this occasion where it's a very, very family-orientated entertainment. And we're open to many other projects and initiatives that want to come. It's great to see young enterprise year in, year out, how these young people come up with so many different ideas, but especially when it comes down to culture, heritage, and history in many of these cases. Just producing a card on local personalities or local celebrities when everybody can discuss it around the table. And those are the great initiatives that we need a young enterprise to bring to cultural services for support, because that is what keeps culture alive.
Anything that you've learned about Gibraltar? Any favourite one thing from your cards?
Stay behind cave, 100% stay behind cave. So one of the most interesting things that we actually learned through the research of Young Enterprise and through having conversations with people is actually stay behind cave. I think stay behind cave is actually absolutely incredible. We were absolutely fascinated living in Gibraltar and not knowing about this amazing operation that took place in Gibraltar. It's just incredible.
The most fascinating thing for me was Stay Behind Cave, which was a cave that they used during the wars and stuff.
Stay Behind Cave was so fascinating. None of us knew about it prior to being informed about it, and it is something that is such a historical gem about Gibraltar, and it's not something that people really know about. And I think Stay Behind Cave was definitely something that really astounded me about Gibraltar.
You all said the same thing about
I know. We kind of did have a very positive impact on society, because we started conversations, which I thought was really, really important. Maybe between a grandmother and her grandchild. You know, my granny might say, oh, when I used to go to La Caleta, did you know this, that, and the other? And it kind of gets people talking, and I think that's what was really, really special about our cards. I feel quite empowered by Young Enterprise. I think if I'm ever going to start a business in the future, it's given me the right toolkit and kind of a step-by-step recipe guide on what to do if I do want to start a business. And it's kind of taught me that starting a business isn't that scary. I think once you do it, you just need to work for it, and I'm more likely to start a business now than I was prior to Young Enterprise.
I think for me at least, the most important one was leadership. So I'm the managing director, and I realized how important communication is, how important including most people or everyone in most decisions, you know what I mean? You can't give full autonomy to people, you have to ensure that people are doing the work. Because if not, we did realize early on that giving everyone this kind of laissez-faire approach, well, you're the manager, the marketing director, do whatever you want. That led to stuff not getting done. So leadership was quite important in the sense where we had set tasks and we had to, so maybe that was more my role, and that's what I learned, and it was quite difficult because sometimes I like to do everything myself. Whereas this delegation helped me, at least in day-to-day skills that I still use to this day.
So I've never been such a confident person. Like, for me to be here right now where I am, for me, that doesn't come out naturally, whereas some other people, they like to be in front of the camera talking. But that, I think, is what I've taken away from this, that now I'm okay, like, being in front of the camera. I do get nervous still, but it's all part of a learning process, and that, I think, was my real takeaway from this as well. The friendships I've made, like, I wasn't as close friends to some people in the team, but the bond we've created is amazing. So yeah.
To this day, we still go out and go to dinner together, and we did have barbecues. We have established a relationship, a bond that is actually incredible, and it was all through these stresses and all these hardships, which is actually quite interesting.
I really enjoyed speaking to people. I think I'm quite a people person, but I really developed as a person in speaking to people, and I think that's something that'll really take away with me. I mean, personally, I think I've grown tremendously throughout the Young Enterprise journey, personally, because I've always been a sort of confident person, but I think Young Enterprise has kind of taught me how to speak in public and not get so nervous, kind of be relaxed, because you approach so many people, you learn that at the end of the day, they're just people. They're not someone to be afraid of. Like, whether you're speaking in public, whether you're speaking one-on-one on a person, they're also like you, like, we're all the same. So I think that's what I really learned, and that's something that I'll really take away with me.